Good morning, everybody. We're still having some challenges with the intro, but we'll figure it out. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the Morning Vibe, April 8th, live with the Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner, given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Care and also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national father organization. And partnering up with those organizations last year, I was able to reach out directly or indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Good morning, Ryan Knight. How are you?
I am very good.
Headphone off. All right. Good stuff.
And for those that don't know who I am, my name is Ryan Knight. I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage they're in today and then help them create a blueprint to grow their companies exponentially. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I run a company called Detailing Nights. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we come to your house or to your office, clean your car on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. The spring, I feel spring in the air. I love it. I see the sun. Is like that.
Push up the temperatures, please.
I'll take it. So, and really quick, we are still hiring. So our training is going to start in May for the youth entrepreneurship program. So if you know somebody that's looking for a job for the summer, please connect them with us. You can go to our website, detailingnights.ca, and there's the youth entrepreneurship program link. Just sign up, and then we'll do the interview and have you out for the training. So looking forward to that.
All right. Well, it's a Friday, and another announcement. We have another sponsor. So we are being sponsored today by Caesar's Crown, and Caesar's Crown is a great. Well, I can't relate to it right now, but
I get to use it. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
It's
Caesar's
part of
Crown
my routine.
Well, Caesar's Crown is owned and operated by Mr. Travis Samuel. All the products are made with natural ingredients formulated with men's skin in mind. Please check them out online and at their socials, where you can start feeling like a king today. Join the movement, wear the crown. So we're going to show some other products that they have available. There's some there. Some other stuff there. Other stuff there. Also, too, if you want to contact them, their contact information is right here. So there's their website, www.caesarscrown.ca. They're also on Instagram at Caesar's Crown Lifestyle Brand, and they're available via phone 905-706-6659. So Caesar's Crown, another sponsor of the Morning Vibe. And if you want to sponsor on the Morning Vibe, get in touch with us. That's all we got to say. Get in touch with us. So yes, I bring sponsors that I can't relate to directly. We bring them on. We bring them on the platform.
You're for the people. You're for the people.
Absolutely. And well, you know what? And this is going to be it. If you wanted some hot conversation, Today is definitely the day to make things happen. But before we go any further, I want to say welcome to everyone who's watching live on the real replay, especially if you're watching live. I have a feeling we're going to get some comments flying today.
I'm already
in
getting
regards to
comments on my phone. People are like, "Oh,
already, already."
yes."
Okay, so
Today's gonna
before
be
we,
hot.
yeah, it's gonna be hot. Before we bring our friend up, Ryan, how's the week been? Otherwise, other than that, how's your week been?
It's been, you know,
Uh-oh.
a range of emotions this week. We
Yes, I
had
saw you made a media appearance on LinkedIn a few times, so I saw that.
right, and talking about the articles that are coming out, but I was actually thinking about the entrepreneur program on Wednesday. I felt like it got emotional, and people being able to share their stories, and that's what it
Oh yeah,
showed.
we gotta talk. Yeah. Let's talk. Like I'm thinking about the stories. I'm going. Wednesday seems so far along. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we Dr. Vibe invited myself, Doug Minter, and I think I don't know if any other organizations, but other supporters from the city of city of Toronto, sorry, and really it was like graduation for the participants in the program, and they were going through entrepreneurship training and got to do a pitch. So they picked the three winners. Shout out to Aisha, Donji, and Dwayne. I mean, Dwayne rocked the house with his acceptance speech, I'll say.
Yes,
So the
yes.
top three winners were able to get $5,000 each, thanks to the Toronto Enterprise Center, I believe,
No, Enterprise Toronto.
Enterprise Toronto. And then, so, hey, I called Dr. Vibe and I said, for me, the success is getting to the finish line. And everybody that pitched, I was truly proud of and inspired by the work that they do. And we wanted to invest in them. So we put up $500 each from the Afro-Caribbean Business Network and Empowered Frex. We were able to put that money together so that we can support those entrepreneurs. And I didn't say it at the time, but it's not a participation medal. For us, it's an investment in these entrepreneurs and showing that we want to see them succeed. And yes, the pitch side competition is one side, but now the real work begins, and we're going to be with them, alongside them, to make sure that they succeed. So I wanted to put my money where our mouth is and really step up.
Talk the talk and walk the walk. And Ryan, I want to say I'm thanking you. I'm thanking Doug. I'm thinking next Wednesday, Marlon, who's coming on. Also,
Yes.
Andrea Henry coming on and sharing with the young people. And I mean, that was really emotional. And a lot of people, there were a number of representatives from the city of Toronto there. They were blown away and very emotional.
Richard Miller from
Keep Six. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. He brought, like,
really
between Dwayne and Richard Miller, they brought the house down. And because of that conversation, there's light at the end of the tunnel that they're going to want to continue the program through, at least for the rest of this year. So the push is happening. I have meetings this afternoon in regards to that, and they were just blown away, and it was really emotional. I'm never going to forget that 3 hours, because I had some of the participants email me after and saying, like, they were just blown away, and they've changed their lives. So thank you to all of you for taking time in investing people. It was amazing. And I hear there may be some more money coming. I'm not going to talk in regards to
that's the big piece of entrepreneurship, is when you can find people that are dedicated to wanting to make their business work. You have to pour into them. Like, a lot of times, hey, people are trying to thing, and it's like, you don't really see the commitment. But what I saw with this program was that commitment.
Wow.
They just need the resources.
And they just need and the guidance. That's it. The passion is there. And I'm gonna say something. It may get me in trouble, but it's my platform. I saw drive, hunger there.
Yes.
That I've seen in entrepreneurs that have a lot more available to them and are not taking advantage of it. Agreed. And the funny thing is, when myself, and I have to hail up Michelle Baptiste, from the city of Toronto who believed in this program from the get-go, who I met back in 2015 and reached out to me a few months ago. Look, I need you to do this with me.
Yes, yes.
And to see now where it became where people who they didn't want to put themselves on a screen to now pitching to now over $20,000 in available money made to them.
Boom.
Life-changing. So
yes.
we could get all, and even Ryan, folks, it isn't recorded. Even Ryan shed a tear. You missed it.
That the air conditioning went on in here, and I don't know if there's like a breeze caught my eye at the wrong angle.
Well, you know what? People are not here to really hear about that, but we had to share success. Anytime we get a share to success in the Black environment, we have to share it. And hopefully we're going to get one or two of the winners on the platform.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to that and hear more of this story.
Lots of people are coming on today, so they want to hear us knock it out. So before we go any further, we're going to bring I have a feeling this gentleman's going to become a regular because he has a lot of valuable things to say. We're going to welcome back Marlon Stephen from Square Circle Ventures. Good morning, Marlon. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good stuff. Excellent. Good stuff. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Pretty good. Got animated with Ryan's post on LinkedIn, and I've been getting a lot of comments. So it's like, I don't want to sound, because sometimes I'll say something and it'll sound like I'm against it. That's usually not the case, right? It's more where we need to filter out, like what you guys were talking about, the passion. The people who are going to do it anyways, and what they really need is resources.
Yeah, do it afraid.
It's completely different than somebody quote unquote trying to think, right? And I when a lot of these programs got developed, right, a lot of people went in, I'm trying to think, right? And it's like, that's not how this is not how this works. You know what I mean?
All right.
And you're wasting time, essentially.
All right, we're going to get to the budget first, folks, and then we're going to get to the articles. But people are already, good morning, Farley Flex. He's already saying the important here is respect to face is to take the high road here and objectively assess all contributing factors. So people are already coming in.
Okay, let's start there because I feel like
one other
you can touch on the budget.
Hold on. Christopher Lawrence says good morning. Oh, you see already we're fighting with each other, and then Christopher Lawrence, what peppermint tea did I miss? So what are we talking about first?
Yeah, let's jump into the articles because Marlon mentioned it, and I feel like it segues nicely. So for those that missed it, like Christopher Lawrence, and it's not on my LinkedIn, a couple articles came out on the Globe and Mail talking about the loan programs for the Black community. So the first article was about the banks that were involved in the entrepreneurship program. So the federal entrepreneurship program, which included this loan program. And the article was showing how the banks were involved at the beginning. So CIBC, TD, Scotiabank, National Bank, they were involved, and then suddenly they weren't involved, and BDC had to step in. So now the article was showing like, hey,
hold on a second. People may not know BDC. So you just take
the Business Development Bank of Canada.
Okay.
So BDC is now working with the FACE Coalition, where the FACE Coalition is 5 Black organizations that came together to create FACE. So the BBPA, Africa Center, Côte de Neige, Group 3737, BBI, and another one that I'm forgetting. Okay. But 5 of them came together to create FACE, and they were in charge of the $30 million that they got from the government, and also the BDC, I believe, put up $128 million. So all that to say, the initial article, the first one, was about how the bank stepped away and now created their own programs. So CIBC
individually.
Yes, individually. So CIBC has one, RBC has one, and Bank of Montreal has one.
CIBC,
Yeah, CIBC. So now the article is trying to figure out why did they step away, what's going on. Some regulatory things came into play, but now they're able to do it on their own. But there was support for FACE because one of the business owners, Margaret, that owns City Lending, she had gotten through with Face. So she's like, yeah, we need things to support our community. Then a second article comes out.
So can I just interrupt there too? I have reached out to Margaret, so we're trying to get her on one of my platforms. She says she does want to come on, so I don't know, because she's in Alberta. It's 2 hours ahead of time. I don't know if she's willing to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, but if not, she can come on a Black Canada Talking, which we'll talk about later on a Sunday. Keep on going.
Right. And so the second article now comes out from the Globe and Mail that's more pointed towards the Face Coalition and saying less than 1% of the applications have been successful. So how they broke it down was 16,000 applications, I would say, were started. Face says about 1,000 were actually completed properly. And out of that, about 104 were successful. So now on the surface, that is terrible. That's a terrible percentage. But now this is where we wanted to really talk about the loan program and what does success really look like. So I was curious to hear from Marlon when I had put up the video to say, yeah, this article, we should actually use it as fuel to support Face.
Marlon, why you open up your okay, all right.
Not did anything. I'm cool. Like,
all right. So and folks, today put your comments are flying, so I'm going to be putting them on. So periodically we'll update, but we want to but put them in. Go ahead, so Marlon.
I want to explain a bit about the video just before getting Marlon's take, because the video talked about this data that now is in the article is actually data that we need. And my pushback to Face was they should have provided this data and told us, like, hey, be transparent. So now the Globe and Mail does it. We should still use that data.
On top of it, and no offense, a non-melanated reporter from the Globe and Mail,
right, is digging into our programs. And so they have their own agenda. They're probably looking at government programs like, why are you supporting the Black community? Like, look at, they only less than 1% are getting funded or getting through. But for us, we have to look at it and say, okay, where is the bottleneck? What is the flaw with this program that we can now support Face to fix? And so let's use this as a positive and fill those gaps. But that is going to take, Face has to ask for help. Like, a lot of times you can't help people that don't want help. So I think that's where Marlon was going too, that the program itself also has to be critiqued. Is this actually what Black entrepreneurs need in our community when we know not everybody needs a term loan? So what are the other gaps that we should be really focusing on?
Yeah, in a nutshell, because I wanted it at first look, my comment might have looked harsh, right? Because the government has never solved, if they solve these problems, by the way, the so-called Black business ecosystem loan program is just a version of the small business loan program that they already had in place, that the banks were already subscribed to, right? They just, again, it was just a way of them getting into the George Floyd conversation and taking away from the WE scandal at the time, right? Regardless of what the reason was, right? You still take advantage of what's there, right? But again, they set it up, the people, even the groups that were part of the Federation of African Canadian Economic, right? That's the name of that Face, right? That's what it's called. How many economists are on there? How many fund managers are on there, right? How many people who understand what might be done are on there? Zero, first of all. It would have been like, it's great. I get it. You got a job. It's over here. You're worried, you're worried about doing it well. Well, ask for help, and ask for help from the very community that it's going to address, right? Those are the two first things, are going to need to happen. Ryan knows, like, I'm working hard at trying to get real money, like, and I'm not talking, not talking West Hall type money. I'm talking billionaires, right? Like, you know what I mean? Into the community to not just deal with issues that we have here, right? There's more Black billionaires in Africa than there are in all of North America, you can, including Jay-Z and all of these folks that you know of, right? And they want to invest in some of these ecosystems, but how and where? They're not going to come in and want to, kind of invest in a mom and pop shop that isn't going to return anything for them, right? They're looking to build themselves, right? But those same organizations don't have the capacity to say, well, yes, there's some tax incentives that you might get if you do it with us. We have relationships with the government, so we've organized this like a tax haven. Like, we will get into the budget, but like foreign ownership for like of homes and stuff like that, that's being like embargoed for the next 2 years. Right. There's a number of things that are going on. There's trade agreements that we aren't taking full advantage of, right? And those are the things that these organizations could be facilitating, not creating a one-on-one entrepreneur class.
But like you're saying, the amount of billionaires that are in Africa, and Black billionaires, there's no container here in Canada to support them investing here. And the ones that might exist, like with the startup visa, there's no Black-run startup visa accredited
organization, designated organization.
And so that's
you and
where
I are trying to be the
a lot of our focus should be. Right.
You and I are first too, and I've said this often, right? Some of these organizations are 40 years old, right? And they don't know and are not part of some of these larger organizations that are actually making moves, including some of the newer ones. We have the Black Opportunity Fund, and I have no problem naming names now because yes, they're basically a bunch of bankers with jobs, right? That said, we're going to create a fund to help the community. But they're using the exact same rubrics, the exact same measurements, the exact same parameters to make those decisions. Guess what? That's what's called systemic racism. You can't use the exact same systems that you're calling racist to start to supposedly help the community. That is crazy to me, right?
All right.
And funny enough,
go ahead.
A lot of them call me and my network a lot to ask what to do, but then go and do the complete opposite, right? And it's like, whatever. It's like, I don't even want to.
Let me time out because if I don't come in on what's all the comments, I'll be taking 10 minutes. So let's first time out. So first thing is Stacey Amberry. Good day, all. Let's outline those factors and unpack it. Tim Frey says, morning, gents. Let's get it on. Ray McMorton says, looking forward to this morning's conversation. Good morning. Andrea Lindau here, the only applicant who has filed a lawsuit against FACE. She also says it is shocking that the CEO of FACE is blaming over 14,000 applicants for their inability to fill out an online form instead of taking responsibility for experience. So I'm going to put a disclaimer. These are opinions of the people. That's not the opinions of this show. So I just going to put that up. So Farley Flex is saying 100%. Okay, our first question here. So FACE and its services and support no longer exists. Ryan, do you know?
They do exist, but this is where people have the misconception that FACE has the mandate to do the wraparound supports that entrepreneurs need. So they're really supposed to triage and figure out who should go forward with the loan application and who shouldn't, and go to the ecosystem. So that federal Black entrepreneur program that was created had 3 layers. And so there's the loan program, and then the ecosystem, and the knowledge hub. So the knowledge hub, don't really focus on that right now, but the ecosystem has 40 Black focused business organizations in it that is supposed to be working with entrepreneurs to get them to the baseline to be able to apply for, I would say, any loan, but of course, specifically the Black entrepreneur loan that the federal government created. So now if you have a database of 16,000, and if 15,000 applications, based on what they're saying in this article, 15,000 weren't completed correctly, that automatically that should go to the ecosystem, and somebody should support that applicant to say, hey, these are pinpoint what's missing. If you need support to get it done, we're here. And then And what I was trying to also explain way early in this process is it takes the burden off of FACE and puts it onto the ecosystem. And that's what we're designed to do. So we want that burden. If we have 15,000 people that need help, 40 organizations, first of all, I would say we should be able to handle that. Secondly, if we can't, that's where the ecosystem can now go back to the government and say, listen, we're working with 15,000 entrepreneurs, and also maybe 10,000 of them don't need a loan. So there's something else that needs to be created for them. This is a functioning ecosystem. Right now, we have an ecosystem in theory. Nobody really knows what the hand is doing versus the leg versus the head versus the heart versus the digestive system. The ecosystem is just in theory. So we have to dig in to really understand what the ecosystem should be, build it because it doesn't exist, and then go for it. But that's where the Globe, I feel like this article in the Globe is trying to incite the Black community to now fight against each other. And you can see
it should.
Like the comments are showing people are attacking FACE instead of putting up our hand and saying, how can we help? That should be the focus going forward. As much as and people respond to me and they're like, oh, but why are they giving loans and they should be doing grants? It's like, your comments about the program itself are valid. That's not what the discussion is right now. The discussion is, this program exists. How do we make it successful? If more programs, and at the end of the video, I said, let's make the current program successful and then create the programs that we actually need. It's not all about this one program. We do need to build the right structures and infrastructure and programs that are actually needed. But how do we know what's needed unless we go through like this type of audit and this type of critique? So we shouldn't get distracted.
All right, so let's move on.
No, we can't get distracted. One of the things that I'm going to like co-sign with Ryan is, yes, I had major issues with FACE, the organization, but that's not here nor there. It's like, yes, these are the issues. You need this kind of assistance, because even FACE's initial movements, like telling people, like some folks who commented, you are approved or you're approved to the next process. Bad communication, right? They should never have been put in a position that, oh, once you pass us, your loan is guaranteed. That's not how it worked, right? Like banks or anybody, they have their own risk management places in place, and they're going to do what they're going to do. I had a problem with loans in the first place because a lot of them, and I don't want to go to grants either, because the filter before that, what we were talking about when we were praising the Toronto group, right, is because you could see their passion. They weren't trying a thing. Unfortunately, many of those 16,000 were trying something. They wanted to substitute a business for a job or something, or some kind of income. And that is not what business is about. It's not a right. It's not a right for you to have a business, right? You have to earn it, right? Like this is the exact thing that I said every day, because you wake up some days and it's like, what the hell am I doing, right? Why am I doing this, right? And because you're not getting paid a lot of times, right? You're creating something, right? You're reinvesting in it, right? This is exactly what I said. And I was very, because, folks who got it, because it isn't even about businesses. This is about the wealth gap. It's about, like, the only place who's actually done the data is thus far the US. But on general, it's going to take 228 years, right? And this is done in 2016 was the last time this kind of study was done. And trust me, it's gotten worse since. 228 years, right, for the income, like the wealth that you hold. So even owning a home, and this part of the study has been done, right, where Black folks, we don't own anything. So it's really hard to start a business, right? You can't start a business when you need to pay rent, right? Because you're not getting any equity in that rent, right? So again, there's so much to unpack, and it's more about this. This is what I said, and then we can go on with everything else. I took a quote from a very successful immigrant entrepreneur who's Black, the owner of Calendly, right?
Yep.
And all he said was, in my life, I've benefited from not taking the conventional wisdom. So the reason why I put that as the quote is because, yes, we were presented with this. We need to make it work as best we can and learn the lessons that it teaches us. That's what Ryan's saying, essentially. Does it mean that we have to reconstruct it? Possibly. And that's okay, right? Because this is what I then said. The fact is that many of the applicants should not get such loans as they are not yet ready to pursue revenue to service said loans and other forms of debt financing, because that's what this is, debt financing, right? The fact is, many of the ecosystem partners have focused on wraparound services and not product and market fit. Some of it should have been like, you don't have a business here, do this, 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 and this, and then yes, come back to us. We have a ecosystem program, and we're not teaching you about 101. Oh, you need to incorporate. That's crazy. If you don't know that you need to incorporate, right? No incubator program, anything else is going to help you, right? So teaching folks how to get these loans and grants don't help companies grow or thrive. You have organizations like the BBPA. That stands for Black Business and Professional Association. It's only the last part of it makes sense. The Professional Association. I've never heard of a trade agreement or anything fit by them. They don't get involved in that. They're not trying to create opportunities. So anyways, as I was saying, teaching folks how to, the ecosystem should focus on developing opportunities, networking in and with complementary markets, and infrastructure to produce revenue, build assets, so that the community itself could provide the collateral, capital, and risk tolerance necessary to grow promising businesses that solve problems that may be unique to our community.
True.
Paramount Foods is an immigrant that came here guess what? When you go watch the Raptors 905, you watch it in his name's building, right? And it's not because he's a basketball fan. He's a fan of the community that he lives in. He grew up in Mississauga. He's going to bring, at least he grew his business there. That's what people do. But if you don't reinvest into the community, there's nothing to build, right? That's what we have to do.
Right.
The wealth gap will only increase in this kind of environment unless we are encouraged by leaders to pursue debt and institutional financing first. Those same leaders are not risking anything but sells to government and their bosses that they speak for the community and are the best stewards for these programs. Risk and ownership is not encouraged, though that is what is needed to support and grow these businesses. All right. That was my statement, and people understand.
Let me catch up with comments, and we'll catch up. So Christina is saying facts, Marlon. The network, which is Angela, is her name? Angela's saying Face as a company is a failure. The numbers speak for themselves. 1% acceptance rate. That is unacceptable. She also says, Stacy, the eligibility criteria is a moving target. They were ill-equipped to manage the complexities within our community. Stacy also says, I see. So the capacity is not there. All right. Stacy's also saying we need to plug into the trade commissioner's office. Also saying, speak on it, Ryan. Let's see the network. Angela's got a lot to say. Angela, if you're available on Monday, we'd like to have you on. This lawsuit. So just to FYI, everybody, Angela has a lawsuit against Face. So that's why she's referring to a lawsuit. The lawsuit will open the internal process used to evaluate the applications. There was no standardization and so much more was lacking. Excuse me. This is fun. This is surprising coming from an organization who's responsible for administering public funds. We won't go there. She will talk about that. The government has promised Face $8.9 million to hire more staff to help. Let's see who they partner with to help. Farley Flex. Again, thanks for hanging on, Farley. Really appreciate it. The key to success in these matters is to set up applicants for success. This has to include the training, evaluation, and proper outreach to businesses that are eligible and capable going in. Stacy says we need a Black Angel network and VC network.
Marlon's head.
Have the track record, expertise, qualification, experience of helping Black communities scale and exit successfully. That's why Marlon's here. Christina says, Farley Flex, you are right. I was mentioning this to Ryan. There could be a pre-qualification period to help people get ready for apply for the main loan. Also, I'm surprised no one has mentioned yet that these are loans, something that systemically is already hard for our community to access. I
want to touch on that after you finish. Because,
let's go here. Christina, they keep us giving us loans. There should either be forgivable loans or grants. Mm-hmm. The network says, no, Ryan, I disagree with you. What do you disagree with? And that's going to be interesting. And then Farley says, the fact that there are 40 plus organizations in the ecosystem and so many more applicants who are rejected is a testament to the need to focus on, quote, readiness, unquote. All right, we're caught up.
So 2 things there. One, where Farley was saying about the readiness. And this is where you have to start thinking, did the government set us up to fail? Because FACE as a loan program was launched before the ecosystem. And that's not how it was sold to us. The ecosystem was supposed to be created and at least beginning to develop so that when the loan program came out, we would be the triage. People that were interested in getting capital would then come through some sort of support system, and then we would be able to prepare them to go get the loan. And I know this intimately because we created our own microloan program. And so over this past year, I've had to understand, okay, when people come in, you don't let people come in directly to a loan. That doesn't make sense because you don't know anything about their business. And if you're really truly wanting them to succeed, you'd want to at least have a conversation with them first and then figure out, okay, where are you at? What have you tried? What do you need? Okay, this might work, that might work. Hey, this grant's available, this loan program. You create a blueprint. You create a strategy, and then you go out. And then because they've been with us, we can walk into the bank with them and say, listen, this person has our support. They have all those things that you're asking for. I have the list of all these requirements that banks ask for, printed, binded, put it on their desk, and they're going to get our support after you disperse the loan. That is a completely different conversation with the bank than just going to their website and filling out an application and hoping for the best. So that's one piece. And then what Christina was talking about with the loans, yes, systemically we've had issues getting loans. That's why this entire program was created, to alleviate that. But mind you, it's not perfect yet. It's not even smooth, but businesses historically have been able to use loans as capital to grow their company. So loans to me is not the issue. It's how do you leverage capital purposefully and with the right guidance to use it effectively. If you're taking and I'll tell you, I overheard a conversation with a business owner calling, and my team was there, and I overheard the lady say, I need this grant to pay my rent. There's a flaw there. You should not need capital to pay your rent, because your business should be operating and sustainable.
Your business affairs and your personal affairs, money watch, should be 2 separate things.
And this is where, if a person sees that a loan is available and they go for it to kind of band-aid issues of their actual business operations, that's a failing task. And this is where FACE is put into that position. But if there's a support system that they go through first, and then we realize, hey, those 1,000 are the only ones that should have applied, and now FACE has the capacity to handle that, this process would have been a lot more smooth. But it didn't happen that way. So now we have to play with the hand that was dealt, unfortunately.
Well, even that, it's almost like, well, what is FACE? Because you acted like FACE with a lot of the folks that are rolling, and I think that actually makes more sense, right? Because you might start building your own collateral, right? You know now you have access to RBC's program, which has nothing to do with Black at all, right? You haven't gotten it yet, but we're working on it. We're making sure that NACO gives us that. But a $50,000 operational, an operational
line of
loan
credit
at excellent rates, right? And how do you make that better, right? Well, maybe if we put down some GICs and we show some skin in the game, right? We could get better rates for folks, right? But that is the kind of innovative thinking that has to happen within the ecosystem. As I said, there's no ETFs in our community. There's no we're talking with certain countries, as you know, right, about building infrastructure projects. On infrastructure projects, you get 80% returns. That's big money, right?
Yes.
We got to figure out ways to get into that. That's what we're talking about. That's what you want to, kind of empower the ecosystem to do. And maybe that's a different leverage point for even talking to the government. It's like, look, we could get you a trade agreement with.
I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. So, Ryan, question: you have to leave at the top of the hour?
I got like 15 past.
Okay, because the comments are coming in like crazy. The questions are coming in like crazy. So, and when people are calling me on my cell phone during a conversation, that there's fire. So we're not
getting to the budget, and that's just
yeah. That's not going to happen. That's not.
It'll give us a week
to dig deeper. Maybe on Monday, but it ain't going to happen today. All right. So let me catch up with comments. So Farley is saying, so the network, please put in the comments what you disagree with Ryan about, but I'm going to get some more comments. We already did that one about the readiness. Okay. So we got here. Speak on it, Ryan. We need better coordination within the Black ecosystem. Tim Frey is saying, I vote to make Ryan Dr. Frankenstein of the Black ecosystem, make it come alive.
Kicking and screaming and pulling people into this ecosystem.
All right. The network is saying FACE has misled over 14,000 Black CEOs. Why are the ecosystem partners unaware of the number of disenfranchised members? We also have here Amanda saying, unfortunate, where's the streamlining? Futurepreneur provided me with a small business loan, mentorships, and workshops, strengthened my business plan, and gave me a loan within a month and a half. Interesting. Let's go on to next here. We got to learn how to scale our current businesses. It takes hard work. Facts, Marlon. Network Marlon, you don't know that for sure. I know many Black CEOs who are legit and were promised funding. That patently false. I don't know what the rest of that is. Amanda's asking, should the community have vetted FACE members? Where's the program evaluation for the community to read? There is no accountability.
That's a fact.
Stacy, and the owner of Calendly is next level. He is.
Yeah, we need to get him on the show.
DJ Renard says, following up on Ryan's conversation, what happens to companies who do not currently qualify for a loan from FACE, who get referred to the ecosystem? Are still not eligible after exiting the ecosystem support? Can you answer that one, Ryan?
Yes. So that actually touches on why doesn't the ecosystem know that there's 14,000 disenfranchised entrepreneurs? This is where I say the ecosystem doesn't exist. It's in theory. What DJ Renard said is what is supposed to happen. If somebody applies for FACE, which I disagree that they should apply directly, but they apply directly and they don't get through, they are supposed to be referred to the ecosystem. It took like 6 months for that to even happen just on their website. And a direct referral doesn't exist yet. So we have to build that. And this is where I talk a lot about communication. Communication is so key, because what the network Angela was saying is those 14,000, the ecosystem should have known who they were, and then we would be working with them. So that did not happen. And this is where two things can be true at the same time. FACE has issues that they need to deal with, and there are entrepreneurs that weren't ready for the loan and need support. both of those things are true, and we need to address both of them. It's not only blaming face and only blaming the entrepreneurs. We have to work on both at the same time.
Yeah, this is not a face issue. Again, loans are part of the thing. Like I don't mind the loan if I know how I'm going to service it. I have a big problem, right? When there's no revenue, and you're asking for a loan.
Right.
That never makes sense. Never. There's no world where that's going to make sense.
Because the loan's due next month. Like if there's no revenue, you're going backwards.
There's no way that makes sense. Now it's different for a quote unquote VC. We're just looking for a good idea. And then I'm looking for, does that person have the character, right, to, when it's not going well, pick up the phone and go, everything's not going well, we're going to need more money. Or they're going to go, no, everything's great. You know, we're meeting all of our targets, and next thing you know, everything's closed down, right? Or there are private jets. There's tons of examples of this in other worlds, like in other communities, all the time. You remember, it's 1%. We always talk about the top 1%. Not everybody, right? Guess what? 1% kind of makes sense. If you go on a national program and you go, hey, we're doing this for the Black community. Lots of those people are not qualified. And, you know, I don't want to say anything, Angela, but hey, we work together, right? There was many things that I said with you, right? That it's like, I don't think it's ready yet. But I also wasn't faced. I didn't tell you, yeah, you're good. You're good to go on. You're good to move on. That was their problem. Bad communication, really bad scenarios, right? Hopefully it all works out, right? But what Ryan said was, hey, this is what's happened. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, let's see how we can make that better. And similarly with the ecosystem. And trust me, we have it kicking and screaming. It's like, I don't have every solution. I even have deals with people who are like, hey, we're getting your contract next week. We're waiting 4 weeks now. I could be like, whatever, I'm going on with whatever, but I still have to do the things that I have to do, right? Period, right? And that is the reality about business, right? You can't worry about, if you're worried about your rent, you can't be in business, right? You have to be clearly ready to start that process. Right? If you're not,
this is where your cash flow projections are so key. And a lot of times people use it as a throwaway. There's like, oh, I'll put any numbers into this spreadsheet and just send it through. But numbers tell a story. And if you're seeing there's certain expenses that you're going to have at the end of the year or even at the end of the month, and how you've calculated your revenue, including your cost of goods sold, does not cover at least those expenses plus what you're going to pay yourself, your whole business for the rest of the year and beyond is flawed. And this is where I always talk about the triage, is that somebody has to put an eye to that. You can't, business owners, we do everything ourselves, but we have to be able to
ask for help.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to.
With expertise in accounting. Yeah. I'm not the accounting expert. We have our gentleman, Sean DeFreitas, that does our books. And he looks over our numbers. Like, you don't have to do everything yourself.
Listen, and there's a big difference between small business and growth business. That's why a bank will lend you money, right? Because you're growing, right? And even then, you want to be a thing. Go ahead.
Okay, and just before I go to more comments, great comment. I was speaking with Doug Minter yesterday. He was speaking to a group of people, and he said to these entrepreneurs, banks are in the business of selling money.
Okay.
Right? They're in the business of selling money. So they need to get their ROI when they're selling.
Low risk.
Right?
Low risk.
So let's go on here. Ray is saying, I agree with everything Marlon says and shares his perspective. Marlon, you do not know that. Please do not speak for Black entrepreneurs. Okay. Stacey says the foundation principles are essential. Hayden is saying, it seems to me that we're reacting to a journalist who's clearly has their own agenda. We should primarily react on our own analysis, not anyone who doesn't have our best interests at heart.
Can we pause there for a sec? Or
Oh, yeah, go ahead. If it's quick, go ahead.
I want to pause there because that is exactly why I put up the video, is that we want to use information that we get in a positive way to empower the community. We don't want to use information that we get to tear down the community. And we actually should have done our own analysis. We have access to research firms in the Black community that could have worked with FACE to produce that report ourselves. But yeah, sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. All right, so we'll go further. DJ Renard saying BB is currently supporting Black-owned businesses based in Little Jamaica. Christopher says, I really like zooming into personal strengths. What can we learn? Okay, we'll save that to the end to build our businesses. We'll use that as a ending comment. Ray is saying, we are trying to help people become entrepreneurs who have no entrepreneurial traits and expect agencies to invest and fund their dream while they take minimal risk.
And if we can pause there too, that's where it's not FACE's mandate to determine if you are an entrepreneur with the right traits. They don't have the manpower to dig into an entrepreneur's lifestyle and figure. All they're seeing is the application. And just like the traditional banks, and this is where I critique FACE as well, it's really similar to how the banks operate already. So there's nothing really different.
That came up. That was what that lady in Calgary said. It's no different if you're dealing with a tradition. She said that at the end, that she sees no difference if someone is applying to FACE to someone's applying to one of the traditional banks. So let me get back.
That's why.
Oh yeah,
the resources that were given to FACE could be redistributed to to ecosystem members that are actually effective. But again, it wasn't the purpose of it. That's already gone. They got reelected, minority government. You know what I mean? What goes on from here is up to us. And that's what Ryan's getting at, right? You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. What are we doing? We're working on literally a kind of a trade agreement with a country that would have our best interest at heart because we are actually from those places. We need to do more of those types of things, so that when the infrastructure in that country is being built, or they need mortgages for the new communities that are being built, right? They can come from here, from some of the resources and capital and collectives that we build here, and reinvest in those spaces so that it happens all over the world. You look at the Indian community, they have an organization because they had small numbers in the early 90s, right, of Indian people at tech companies. They started the Indian Entrepreneur group. Now, that's why we have the head of Microsoft, an Indian American. That's why you have virtually every company, including Google, the biggest in the world, right, now have Indian representation, because the state and the individual entrepreneurs in both places reconnected to the motherland in their case, right?
All right. So Farley says here, the Black community must adopt a hybrid approach to our own economic development that includes investing in ourselves and taking advantage of grants that our taxes entitle us to.
And if I could pause there, because one misconception that people are not understanding is FACE didn't get a loan. So the government has granted them $30 million to create a loan program. So when you say, oh, it should have been grants, we actually did get a grant from the government. And now, but the problem is we were told what to do with the money. That's where I have the issue. They gave 33 million and now said, you can only do this. And they even did consultations that's from across Canada. We gave other opinions on what that money should do. And they ignored their own report. They ignored it. They said, this is what the program's going to be, and that is what it is. That's why I feel bad for FACE, because they are boxed in. But even though they're boxed in, we still have to make that work somehow.
So Farley's saying, read the blueprint strategy. That's what we need to offer loans before the development of the ecosystem as a conduit to successful applications is absolutely back asterisk.
The timeline tells the story.
Yeah, it is very backwards, Farley. Exactly, Marlon. Ryan knows. She's also saying Ryan knows what ought to have been done from the outset.
Yeah.
And this is what hurts me, is that I was part of the conversations at the outset, from before the Black Entrepreneur Program was even developed. And these things, I can send you the presentation that I did for Minister Ng's office that broke down what it broke down. It was ignored. Let's put it that way. It was what was presented. It hurt me how much it was ignored, and then they put elements of it later.
It didn't fall within their timeline. They needed to put out the fire that was there for them at the time. It had nothing to do with us. That's why from where we go now, right, is where really needs to happen. You know, I was very involved then too, right? We were involved in things about getting government contracts for folks. We were doing a number of things behind the scenes, and all of them were ignored. Yeah, all of them were ignored because it didn't fit the agenda that government had at the time. Period.
Okay, so Farley says, would love to participate, brother. In fact, I'd like to replace Ryan. Kidding, of course.
Hey, join in.
All right.
Farley kicking and screaming in.
Stacey Ann is saying there are regulations that the Fed should change. You basically need A1 credit, cash flow savings before applying for a bank loan. Also, strong relationships with the bank help significantly. I would say strong relations with the bank and also a credit union too is also a good thing to have. Absolutely. That. 100% for Ryan, the ecosystem and faith should be working in cohesion.
Yes.
Christopher is saying, curious, the parties that are a part of the ecosystem, what type of businesses are a part of this collective? To add, where do I go to see more information about the 40 plus ecosystem? There is a website.
Yeah. At least on who got funding.
But who got funded, but
very important to know. Yeah. Listen, there's many. Ryan and I have been trying to speak to many of them because I want to even give them ownership in partially what I'm doing, right? Because it is about, right, having skin in the game, right? We don't own anything, right? It's kind of hard to invest when there's not much, and that's why I have such a problem with loans, right? At this particular stage, right? You want to. One of the things about VCs and why you get involved is there's two things happening. You want to solve the problem that's presented. You see it as that big issue, right? And that's why the investment is so perfect. You're there to assist. Oh, we need a really strong CEO in this way. You're on the phone, working your network, working everything that you can to get them what they need. And this is beyond cash, right? This is what we need more of, and we need people with that kind of experience, right? It's like you have to have, the ability to actually make those things happen, right? A lot of times I will hear about things, and it's like there's a reason I'm not getting involved, right? There's a reason you can't you can't kind of just make something all of a sudden work. Great idea, but how do we fill in the other pieces of that? What have you done to get there? Anyway.
So Farley's saying cooperative socioeconomics is the answer. Christina is saying ecosystem partners need to speak with each other and trying to look at each other as competitors. We're all on the same team.
If I can pause, actually, I'll wait.
Farley says readiness predetermines steadiness. Comments are just flying. Caesar's Crown, sponsor of today's broadcast, by the way. Cash flow projections are so important. I realize that opening up my business, being honest. Amanda's saying, I circle back to program evaluation because there should be a report for the community to read. We should be able to provide feedback and strengthen the execution of the program. Michelle is saying
that with the plug.
Okay, Michelle's saying it would have been helpful for the government to have developed a viable strategy on the use or outcomes of the BF versus being led by stopping gaps. Ask for help and keep your accounting updated. Black Sun Comics, yes, welcome. Black Sun Comics. Actually had them on Black Canada Talking last Sunday. Just wanted to say good morning. I just started tuning in. Great conversation. I'm listening and learning. Farley has to leave, but Farley, please reach out to me. I think Ryan, you must have his contact information.
Yeah,
We're gonna see if we can get him on. Jay Walker, we created a blanketed solutions based on the perception that it's only racism that's holding us back, particularly in the banking industry. I have a comment on that. If they ignored their own report, can FACE still be trusted to do the right thing? Again, if FACE cannot dictate how they disperse the grant, then I do not think they'll be motivated to change the policies and processes to truly benefit entrepreneurs. And then, but they have been exposed. Money needs to be funneled to a more impactful segment of business development, such as creating scalable and disruptive business that Marlon spoke about. And then finally, this message is for all businesses. Don't give up. We will get there. Sticks bundled together are unbreakable. All right, you guys can come back. Any things you want me to
one where they're talking about finding disruptive companies. Again, I want to make sure people understand this. That is not the mandate of FACE. FACE does not have the bandwidth to go through 16,000 applications and find which ones are the growth companies. They would find which ones on paper are bankable and are worthy of loan.
Yeah,
but they're not going to be able to determine who is creating a disruptive business that can scale and get them the resources to scale. So one piece somebody talked about was the analysis and the report. When we had Louis Marchand, he talked about the lack of measuring results.
Yep.
That, to me, is still rampant. So we don't there has been no report on how FACE is performing from FACE yet that I've seen. Even the ecosystem, we're writing our report that we're going to submit to FedDev. I'd be happy to put it on our website too, because I know we've blown our quotas out the water. But a lot of times those reports aren't shared with the public. It's just, and we've seen
that is a concern because it's government money that's paying for this, so it has to be shared.
It should be, but it's not.
And there's a concern, but and I'll just say, but that's been a long time issue with nonprofit agencies and government.
That's why I wanted to touch on that comment, because that is across the board. We have to figure out how to analyze better and then use those analysis to be better. But it doesn't exist yet, and hopefully we can change that. And that Christina was talking about the ecosystem needs to be talking to each other 100%. We've tried to put together these monthly meetings so that we can share best practices and at least start communications. And on the 28th, we're having our first Black Ecosystem Summit to invite all these organizational leaders, and not just in the economic realm, but in the other themes of the Black community as well, which education, justice, health, social issues. We want to make sure that we understand what everybody's doing. But to do that, we have to start talking to each other. Christina hit it on the head. If there's no platform for communication, we don't know what everybody's doing. We don't know 14,000 entrepreneurs are sitting in limbo and need support. Maybe some of them need mental health support. Maybe some of them just need rental support. Maybe something's happening with their family. We have no clue what entrepreneurs are going through. And FACE is not mandated to figure out all those issues and support them with it. All they're looking at is this loan low risk? Will they pay it back? Yes, they're approved. And only 100 of them out of 16,000 fit that bill so far.
Yeah, and wait, that 100, is that they sent off to a bank and the bank dealt with it?
And BDC approved. Yeah, they sent it to BDC and it was actually approved and dispersed. And I think about 40 is still sitting with BDC.
So we got to start winding it down soon because Ryan has his tie on. So I'm going to ask an interesting question for all three of us. How many people or how many organizations or businesses do you know that's been approved by FACE?
I know 3.
I know one, and I think one of them, Ryan, we actually had on this program.
Yes.
But I don't.
I know 0. I know 0.
So here's my next question. Just again, government-funded agency. Why isn't that information being shared?
And again, I would say maybe the person that got funding doesn't want it public. And
no.
They're right to say, hey, I got money.
Okay, but maybe they don't want it, but that should be public knowledge because that money that they're getting is public money. Am I wrong?
But no, wait a second. Is it? Because it's a loan.
Maybe it isn't.
It's a loan
Maybe it isn't. They're getting the loan from the bank. All right.
Exactly. Right. At the end of the day, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. What Face actually does, they may be perfectly doing their job, right? Hey, we put these people on. We went through our process.
Yep.
That's it.
They're doing their job.
That's the end of ours, right? But it doesn't mean that any of this stuff was supposed to help Black entrepreneurs. Because I'm telling you, the way Ryan's talking about it makes the most sense. Are they ready, right? And if they're ready, is this the right format that they need even, right? It is not always that you have this debt burden from the offset. It does not make sense, right? There's a reason people go into venture capital. I sent you guys Jay-Z. Jay-Z was running Def Jam at the time. When he went and did this deal, he figured out ways to get investment money for all of the things that you now see today that made him a multi-billionaire.
We got to cut it. So just few last comments we got to do here. And Christopher, thanks for putting up your comment again. That's a question I'm coming to. Jason saying VCs are not meant for small business. They are mean for high growth and fast scaling startups.
True.
He said this. He said the same thing twice. So this is the last thing we're going to have you guys respond on. I like really zooming in on one strengths. What can we learn to build us and our businesses? Final comments.
I'll touch on understanding all the moving pieces in your business, because as an entrepreneur, we're trying to do everything ourselves, and then you actually don't know what it takes to run a scalable business, and it takes guidance. And even the work that we're doing with Tim Frey with Executives Power Up is to give entrepreneurs the elements that are missing. If you have a full C-suite, CEO, COO, CMO, CTO, what's the other one? CMO, all those elements we're putting onto one person. When you actually have team members that are experts in each of those fields, that's where it really supercharges your business and allows you to scale. If you are not ready to build your team, you are not ready to scale your business. And if you want to stay mom and pop, God bless you. Shout out to Randy's. They should be licensed and franchised across Canada already. Somebody has to sit down with them and explain how to do it.
Marlon.
And that's the other thing. Yes, it's very true. VCs are a different world. Right. Angels are in a different world. But even that, right, we can't apply the most rudimentary thing, right, currently to our community, partially because we're not speaking. It's increasingly harder to have, and this is different. A small business is 5 million in revenue, right? Less than 30, less than 50 employees, right? That's a small business, right? What we're talking about is mom and pops, things that aren't sustainable in modern times, right? And we can explain that till we're blue in the face. It's really hard if you're not at least growing to that state where you can sustain things like loans and stuff like that. They have their place, right? But once you understand what your operations are doing, startups, that's why we need angels. We do need VCs. We need angels as well. But even the organizations themselves, that can't only be their role, right? Their role should be supporting existing businesses. Hey, how are we getting you into infrastructure plays in bigger places? How are we getting you on the government's roles for supply chain? How are we getting you in the places that we need to move, right, to get piece of what is there, right? Deals with the city, deals with, bigger corporations, and not DEI deals, actual deals. The only way that we can do that is by having these ecosystem partners think differently and really bring value to the whole proposition, our ecosystem and the larger community itself.
All right, good stuff. So going to squeeze in the last comments here. Amanda says it does not seem possible that so many people could not fill out the application, quote, right to test, unquote. So it speaks to something larger. Stacey and Barry. We need to get government funding to own commercial assets on all these provincial surplus lands. Once we own buildings, it can be used to operate our businesses, nonprofit programs, health center. Selden says facts. Ring saying great final words, Ryan. You provide perfect analysis. And comments are still coming. We'll go, okay, last two, this is it. Great topic. Thank you for dismantling great peppermint tea on Friday. And maybe we'll call this Peppermint Tea Fridays. Jay Walker, scalable disruptive business models are not just not conversations that are persistent or pop in the Black community. What's the statistics around the amount of these types of business that exist? Don't know. We can find that out for you. We got to start calling it a day. So, folks, I will tell you, this has been the most interactive morning vibe we have ever done. So obviously we need to keep on going with this conversation topic because a lot of people got a lot of things to say. Marlon, thank you so much for taking time out of your positive, productive life. If you want to get a hold of Marlon, Square Circuit Ventures, there's a website address, email address. Reach out to him. He'll make the time for you. Enough said. Respect, brother. We'll be in touch.
Yep. All right.
Peace.
Cool.
All right.
And to touch on continuing this conversation, so at 6 p.m., we are actually having a mini town hall to talk about the bank loan programs and the FACE loan. So, hey, those people that are engaged right now, let's continue the conversation. 6 o'clock, we're going to dig a bit deeper into it. I'm going to unveil a lot of the conversations I was a part of very early on, so people understand more about the program and its mandate.
Well, I may or may not be able to attend that. I'm allegedly going to be I've been invited to a post-budget commentary that's being held by the Black. What's the organizer? They call the Black Caucus.
Black Vote? Oh, the Black Caucus.
No, Black Caucus. No, I sent my request in. I said confirm it. They haven't got back to me yet, but I'm supposedly going to be attending that. So hopefully we're going to have Angela on Monday. I'm sure she has a lot to say in regards to that. So just a few things. On Sunday, watch Black Canada Talking with scheduled guests Elle Jones, Sarah Yongo, Cesar Nadima Musa, and also Roger Dundas, co-founder of BuyBlacks.com, #1 Black Canadian website in the world. Cesar sent me this article midweek, so we're going to be kicking off with that conversation topic.
Love it. I'll be tuning in.
It's going to be large, so do check it out if you want to catch replays of what we do. ACBN on Facebook. Ryan's, I don't think they do replays on LinkedIn. They just do it live.
Yeah, I think it's just live.
Just live. And then also you can check ACBN's YouTube page and Ryan's YouTube page, also Dr. Vibe Show Facebook page, Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. And wow, this is crazy. And also just want to also highlight today's show was sponsored by Caesar's Crown Men's Grooming Line, www.caesarscrown.ca, found on Instagram at Caesar's Crown Lifestyle Brand, phone number 905-706-6659. You can find their products at Blackstone, Toronto in the Bramerley City Center and the Scarborough Town Center.
Yes.
So we got everything. Ryan, what's on top for the weekend?
What is on top? Some more training. It's spring, man. It's goal time. So excited about that. I think Sunday is low key. It's gonna chill.
Maybe you'll see us on Black Canada Talking, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tune in for that.
All right. And I'm going to put this now. Views and opinions expressed on the Morning Vibe are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Morning Vibe. So, and it's ironic. Before this conversation, I said, okay, let me start putting that.
That's good.
Let me start putting that.
You're official now.
It was in my mind to do. I was doing that before we went live, but I said, okay. So as everyone, as always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace. And remember, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. And remember, subscribe on the YouTube and Facebook page so you keep up to date, because we have epic conversations going down all the time. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. Walk good. We did. We're still on. Here we go. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. It's been so crazy today. It's just been wild. Take care. God bless. See you on Monday.